I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. All right, I want to put out a call for pro bono lawyers to assist in our judicial review of the foreclosure of Harlem. We're going to have our first meeting on the 23rd of September right here at the ATLAH Church. That means it's coming up in a minute. And we're calling for people who've been unjustly and wrongly evicted from their apartments, people who've been unjustly and wrongly foreclosed or from their homes, and people who've had their business seized or liquidated by the courts. We want to take a 20-year review of what is happening in the New York City court system. And by the way, I said pro bono lawyers for a judicial review of the foreclosure of Harlem. We're talking about Bed-Stuy, South Bronx, Queens, Staten Island as well, and even to some degree Westchester County, but primarily the 5 boroughs of New York City, because there's been a lot of shenanigans going on. There's been a lot of stealing of property over the last 25 years here in the New York City area. And they steal the property, they get property for next of nothing, they buy it, and then make $1 billion in the process. This has gone on unchecked, and probably 2 of the people who aided in the foreclosure of Harlem from 110th Street all the way up to 155th Street, one was David Dinkins, the so-called first black mayor, Al Sharpton, and then you have the law, if you will, pinch-nosed Negroes on the community boards who have aided, who have sold Harlem, who did not stand up, that Harlem, that you get not evicted from your apartment, that there be a way in which you can hang on to your apartment, that there be funding to make sure that under the circumstances that you deserved, under the grandmama clause, the grandfather clause, to stay in your apartment that you had on Sugar Hill, or that your property be not foreclosed, and judges who refuse to give you and to honor the merits of your case and to use discretionary powers of the bench to make sure you stay in your property. They'll foreclose it, sold it, and put you in the street. We need to stop this, and there needs to be a redress. Not only should it stop, but you need to get paid. You need to get paid. Let me tell you something. I've gone through foreclosure now for the past, in a serious way, the past 3 years. It's painful. There's a lot of sleepless nights that one goes through. And the pain of thinking that you're going to be out on the street with nowhere to go, it's almost unbearable. And the courts, the judges, living in their fancy houses, eating in those fancy restaurants, don't really care nothing about poor people. And they understand to keep their seat on the bench as a judge, they got to keep the commercial industry, they got to keep the politicians happy, they got to keep the real estate industry happy, they got to keep everybody happy except you. And they don't consider your pain. They don't consider the hurt, the sleepless night. Well, we need to make them pay. We need to make some of these judges, and you listen to me now, because you come here, this is what I'm going to say. We need to make some of these judges who have put you through hell and high water, giving you sleepless night. We need to let them get a taste of that themselves. We need to let them know that we can take them down off the bench. No, we can. You see, here's what happened. Poor people, the rich people, the gangsters, the banksters, the Mellons, the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, they buy the souls of people like Al Sharpton, David Dinkins, community board members, to bamboozle you and don't protect you. And therefore, because they know if we rose up in power and began to talk economics rather than talking about civil rights and voting for this one and voting for that, they ain't hell with the hell with that. We need money. We need money talks. And everybody else walks, and you know it. Y'all running around here talking about we got a black mayor and getting poor, got more people sleep. It's a shame. It's a scandalous. You walk up and down 125th Street in the hour of the day and see hundreds of men sleeping on 125th Street. You talking about you got a black mayor, a black president. They're just fronts to keep you keep you ignorant, keep feeding blackness to you, feeding you with blackness, black this and black that, black this and black that. They feed you that blackness. Meanwhile, the Japheth banksters, gangsters, and many Jewish as well, ripping you a new butthole. No, we need to make these judges feel what we feel. No, you're going to sit on that bench, we need to give us justice. Taking our property. Our grandfather bought that house years ago, and now you're going to take it over some tax or some unpaid mortgage and give it to a bank, and they're going to take it and give it to somebody? No, and listen, so we need to get paid. And if enough of us get together and stop worshiping blackness. You got to stop worshiping blackness. The blacker you get, the poorer you get. The blacker you get, when we were Negroes, at least we owned Harlem when we were Negroes. Then we went from Negro to being black, and the blacker we got, the poorer we got. And then what's worse, we went from being black to African America, then we got poor like those people over there in Africa. And black people in Africa poor than Job's turkey, sick, living in huts, ain't got nothing. So we went from, at least when we were colored, and Negro, we owned Harlem. It was ours. It was all the businesses, the Chatterbox, Frank's Restaurant, the Apollo, the Will Small's Paradise, Lennox Lounge, the Starlight, the restaurants. We owned everything. We owned it all when we were colored. Then we went from, when we were colored, we were Negroes. We owned it all. The churches were jam-packed. The women wore mink furs going to church. Then we went from Negro to being black, civil rights, and being black. The blacker we got, the poor we got. Then we have all these black leaders in public office when all the black people were all living in the same neighborhood on the same street. We were doing okay. But then they started moving to the white neighborhood and getting white jobs. That's when they started robbing us. Come on. Listen, I'm telling you something now. I'm just gonna be up front. I ain't trying to hide nothing from nobody. I want these judges and these lawyers to feel what I felt. I want them to have some sleepless nights. I want them to feel what we felt. Me trying to protect the children of our school. Where they gonna go to school? Put them in the public schools. I want them to feel. And the way we get together, bind together. Let me lead you. Don't be talking that black talking, running all that politician talk to me. Come on in here, sit down, and let me talk to you. Let's bond together. I got a plan. We can open up the court records. We can open up and look at what they have done, and you can get paid. If not, get your property back after they renovated it. Make them give it back to you. Tell the city of New York, you ain't gonna move or wiggle or nothing else till you give us back our property, our grandmama and grandfather. And then you done bulldoze over our churches, got those skin flint preachers, done sold their soul to the devil. And then all these Japheth people moved up here and they shut down the churches. And not just that, they shut down the schools. You know, these Japheth people out there, especially these LGBTQ, it's another thing. LGBTQ running around here like the way they do it is supposed to be some sort of supreme human activity. Imagine this. People went to the U.S. Constitution, to Ben Franklin and all that crowd, to write a law so that men will honor the way they F. Not the way they walk, not the way they talk, not the way they educate, not the way they eat, but a specific law in the U.S. Constitution, 50 states covering, giving honor to the way they F. You know, as sick as that, I don't know. Not making love. Not, if I say they was having sexual intercourse, you don't need no law to have sexual intercourse. They would write a constitutional law so you can have sexual intercourse. No. Or let's say we're making love. That would be even way out of the part. And I know that to say the way they F is, that F word's an ugly word. I know it is, but I'm going to keep on saying it because what they have done is ugly. It's ugly because what they've done is ugly. had the court write a law, not for them to have sexual intercourse, because they could do that without the law. The court, you didn't have to have, the Obergefell law, the Supreme Court under Obama. You didn't have to have the Supreme Court write a law, for sexual relationship. You can have sex, man, But no, they wanted a law to protect the way and who they do it to. You never heard anything as crazy as that. And I swear before God, they're all, if you will, intellectual pygmies. And they got hot to trot for each other, lusting with one another. Crazy. So don't bring that nonsense in here as well. No, y'all let them talk you into that. But we need to get paid. I'm telling you, we can do this, brother. We can do this. They came over here on a little old boat called the Mayflower and bamboozled the Indians. You know what I want to do? I'll go ahead and put this out there because I know I got a lot of spies listening. I'll put this out there now. When finally the Native Americans, y'all call them Indians, woke up, they said, well, we want a reservation. Now right up in Connecticut up here, they got a parcel of land up in Connecticut where they made the government give them a parcel of land that is detached from the government and its authority. They got a casino up there. They got hotels. They're making plenty of money. And they've done this in Louisiana. They've done it in Miami. The Native Americans have been able to, we need to be able to do that too. We need to make them pay us for what they've taken from us. They know they stole it. Listen, you may be a little, I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if that's possible. Listen, let me tell you something. These banksters, these thieves, these developers, they know they stole it. These judges, they know when they signed that foreclosure order, they know when they gave their summary judgment that they shouldn't be doing it. They know they're taking your property. They know they did it. At least when we go back and ask for redress, at least they know what they did. It won't be like we're surprising them. Oh, we didn't know we did that. No, they know what they did to you. So the Indians got, these casinos all over America, right? They're raking in buku money. We need to say, No, we ain't looking for no reparations. We already own the land in Harlem. We want to get paid. Bed-Stuy up on over there on Lafayette Avenue in Washington and Claremont and Vanderbilt, over there in DeKalb Avenue. I mean, some of the most beautiful houses you ever want to see anywhere in the world over there in Bed-Stuy was once owned by your mom and your granddad and your grand. And now, everywhere you look, there's some group of homosexuals walking up and down the street over there on Washington and Claremont and Vanderbilt and Lafayette. No, we need to, come on, man. So we need to get paid. We need to get our property back, already refurbished. And we can do it. See, the reason, if they can keep people like Al Sharpton, pay him a big salary. Al Sharpton live over there on the east side in a $2 million house. He don't want to live nowhere near y'all because he don't want y'all to see him coming and going. He don't want to live in the hood. He ain't a hood brother. He ain't the kind of brother that can maintain a lifestyle in the hood. He don't want you to see what he's doing. Plus, he don't want to live around y'all because y'all shoot each other. But we can do this, man. I'm telling you. Listen to me. I'm telling you. Now, this broadcast is going out all over the world, and especially all over America. Call up your friends if you don't live in America, don't live here in New York City, and say, you need to get over there with Pastor Mann if you've been foreclosed. And but by the way, this thing with judges and banks taking people's property, this ain't a racist thing. They do that to anybody. Okay, you can be whiter than Snow White. They'll take your property too. And they just do this to black folk. They just do it because they greedy as hell, and they don't give a damn. And ain't nobody gonna stand up. Your politicians don't stand up. They pay off the politicians in Texas, in Florida, in California, in Ohio. They take white people property. They take more white people property than they do black people. They do. I'm telling you. No, they've really gotten rich off the white people property that they've stolen. People's lives they've crushed, and then they put your son on fentanyl. They have that drug manufacturer. Once you lose your house, you're living in a little shack, living in a damn trailer house. Then your son and your daughter, and you get on fentanyl. Next thing you know, you're making the drug company rich. The doctors are writing the prescription. It's a mess, I tell you. Come on over here and help me. Listen. They have bamboozled more white people than they'll ever do black people. Harlem is just Harlem ain't even a drop in the bucket of what they've done nationally and what they're going to continue to do until somebody stops them. I'm asking you to come to the meeting. It's on the 23rd of September, right here at the Outlaw World Missionary Church at 7 o'clock. Come. We'll open up the doors at 6 o'clock and come on in. But to hear this and then turn around and, and say, well, I heard some things about you that you didn't vote for Obama and said Obama's mama was a floozy and all that kind of stuff. I did say it. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again. You want me to hear me say it again? Obama's mama was a floozy. Because he ain't doing nothing to help you. But I can. And I will. So we're calling for pro lawyers. And, there have been a lot of lawyers raised up in this church. They've all moved on, gone someplace else. But a lot of them went to law school right here while I was teaching. I was up here preaching the word of God up there in that pulpit. And while they're in law school, helped them get through law school. Now they're out there act like they don't know I exist. You need to come back over here and say, Pastor Manny, I want to pay some dues of you helping my family all those years, getting me through law school. I'm going to work pro bono. And we can make these court dockets sing. We can make them sing. I can tell you what we can do. But you got to come. You got to help me. You got to get all this blackness out. You got to get that blackness ain't got you nothing. The blacker y'all got, the poorer you got. The more homeless you got. The more homeless, husbandless the women got. The blacker y'all got. You need to get rid of all that blackness and come on back to Jesus. Come on back to Jesus. Hear what I got to say. So I want to be able to say that. I can tell you something, the pain that some of y'all have gone through, and many of y'all never recovered. Many of you never recovered. They tore down the Lenox Lounge. They tore down the Billie Holiday. They tore down the Lenox Lounge, everybody. And they bulldozed over the Legree Baptist Church. They just bulldozed the thing over. Charles Memorial Church. And then you got these preachers getting paid millions of dollars for what people like Dr. Ladson, Dr. J.R. Bryant gave their life, blood, sweat, and tears to build the Legree Baptist Church. And here comes some little preacher going to sell it to the man. Lord have mercy. Y'all need to come talk to me. All right, everybody, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant, and don't you ever forget it. The Mellon Bank to Judge Bluth and to Judge Francis A. Kahn III. We shall not be moved.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Sing it. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
In the midst of the war we fight on, standing on the word of God we stand strong.
We shall not be moved. We're not afraid and ain't backing down. There's a new sheriff here in this town. We shall not be moved. You can't try, but you won't succeed. The time is drawn closer when you will bleed. We shall not be moved. For God to have mercy on your poor soul, you'll find out soon you're not in control. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
we're gonna tear your kingdom straight down, and when we're done, you won't be around.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. You better lean down and do it right now. You heard the holy word that we gon' hold out. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not. Yeah. We shall not be moved. Ooh. We shall not. No. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not. Yeah. We shall not be moved. We shall not. No. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not. Yeah. We shall not be moved. We shall not. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not. We shall not be moved. We shall not. We shall not be moved. 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 We shall not be moved.
Dance it up now.
We shall not be moved.
Clap with us now.
We shall not be moved.
Sing with us now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on now.
We shall not be moved. 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 We shall not be moved.
Pastor Manny now.
We shall not be moved.
Mother Manny now.
We shall not be moved.
All the elders now.
We shall not be moved.
All the mothers now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on, stop your feet.
We shall not be moved.
Come on, clap your hands.
We shall not be moved.
Sing it.
We shall not be moved.
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 We shall not be moved.